Let's go ahead and jump right in and talk about this week's episode of Monday Night Raw. It was Legends Night, what they've been advertising for the last couple weeks. And it was the who's who of WWE Hall of Famers and legends. And I did my best to write down all the appearances of the various people, which I'll just kind of, throw it out there as we make our way down through summarizing the show here. I don't know about you guys. I just at the point now where these Legends nights, I think all they are is just to kind of get like a ratings bump for like 1 week. And then it's kind of pointless in many ways. I mean, ratings wise, they did really well this week, but I feel like they bring these legends in, but don't really use them for any stories. They're just like making cameo appearances. It doesn't really help the overall product long term. I don't know. Richard, what do you kind of think of just overall like Legends Night?
I liked it a lot.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. And I think if you're looking at it the wrong way.
Please break it down for me. Change my mind.
Whenever they do these Legends things, the ratings go up bigger than they've been in months or years, right?
Yeah.
So you're getting the lapsed fan to rewatch the show. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, you have your more current content. Maybe they'll stay another week because they saw some of the more current content and they got to see the Legends. My thing with this one is the one thing I don't like is when they group a bunch of Legends in the back and they really don't do much. Like there was a little bit of stuff I did like where, but IRS,
IRS, and was it Mickey James? Like I said, I have a list here. We can go down.
Like having Mickey James and Sergeant Slaughter was cool, but there was no reason for Tatanka there.
Yeah. Exactly.
My train of thought would be because the Legends they actually did stuff with, I thought they did a really good job with.
Yes, Ric Flair specifically was great.
Flair, I thought I liked what they did with Hogan, with starting off the show, and him and Drew I thought was hilarious.
Okay, all right.
I think that they should spread it out so it's maybe a month of Legends, but they actually use the Legends, meaning like what we saw with Ric Flair and Hogan and the Boogeyman. Like typically I don't like the Boogeyman coming back because it's like he's not really a legend. But
I know, right? That's a thing.
But the getting him to make Angel Garza scream had me pretty good. But I think if you can use your Legends better, then I'm for it because like there was a lot of Legends that we didn't even see until the main event when they all came out to sit down.
Yeah.
So whether that means they're going to be on commentary for a match or a special referee or whatever, a general manager for the night, I think there's a way to do it better. And I think we got a better look at what it looks like tonight. It just, when they announce 20, 30 people, that not everyone's going to get used if at all.
Yeah.
So
I just think, like, I get it for a ratings bump. Maybe someone who hasn't watched WWE regularly for a while, they'd be like, oh, so-and-so's going to be back? All right, man, that was from my day. I love that person. I'm going to tune in. And you would hope they would see some of the current people on the roster performing. And they'd be like, oh, that person's cool. You would think that I think that's the point. Be like, okay, I'm going to start tuning in again on a regular. Sure, this person I like is long gone, retired. But this new person I like, that I see maybe for the first time, I want to tune in on a regular and watch them. You would think that's the goal, and you would think that's what's going to happen. I mean, we'll find out. And that, as far as WWE creative, you got to use that momentum as far as, okay, you potentially, as far as tuning in next week's episode, are going to maybe some people who are coming back who haven't been watching a while. So you would hope this week's episode of Raw will be really good to capitalize on maybe potential fans that have been gone for a while. They're going to tune in. You want to keep that momentum so they keep tuning in for week after week after week. So I get what you're saying. I understand that. It's just a lot of the criticism I've been seeing online is like a lot of people are like, you keep using these Legends and it's almost diminished return. It's like, okay, maybe 5 years ago, some of them are really good, but the older they get, they're not they're not as sharp, they're not as witty.
They're the same exact people that are praising that Sting is in AEW. Seriously, take that into consideration.
That's true. I get what you're saying on that. Yeah, and for me, I'm actually kind of very frustrated with Sting right now in AEW. He hasn't done anything. He's literally made, like in the last 6 weeks or whatever it's been, he's been on probably 5 times and he hasn't done nothing. He literally comes walking out, with a bat, just stares down people, pretty much Team Taz. That's who it is. I know you guys don't know, but it's Team Taz, and they go running off. And I'm like, you got 4 younger wrestlers and Taz, so 5 total, and they're scared of a 61-year-old with a bat. Like, they can easily all outnumber him, easily take him down, no problem.
And Will Hobbs and Brian Cage,
them 2 alone, yes.
One of them alone,
yes. But Ricky Starks and then Hook, who's Taz's son, who's part of the group now as well. So yeah, I'm with you. For me, it's like,
I just think they need to use them because it doesn't make sense. Like that's. There's too many of them on one show is what I'm saying.
Maybe spread it out a little bit.
That's what I'm saying. Like, because I did really thoroughly enjoy what they did with who they did use.
Yeah. So, all right, well, let's go ahead and just jump it down. We'll go down through the list of people and what happened with each segment and stuff. But yeah, I hear what you're saying. I feel like either, use them more properly or spread out these appearances. Don't just blow your load on one episode. Literally spread all these legends over the coming months or something. Like once a month, different group of legends appear.
Like I said, you could even do it like a solid month of WWE Legends month.
Yeah.
Where Raw and SmackDown and even NXT to a smaller degree.
Yeah.
You can find a way to incorporate these people because like, here's the thing. People bitch about it, but when they're gone, they miss them and they wish that they were there. So it's like, this is the only time you ever see these people on TV.
So appreciate it.
Appreciate it while it's there because they could be gone.
Yeah.
Because I remember people saying that about Piper, and then when Piper was gone, it's WWE should have given him a contract, blah blah blah. It's like they did give him a contract.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, hell, he won the titles, the tag titles with Flair, right?
Yeah.
Remember? So one last hoorah. So the show starts off, Monday Night Raw starts off with Hulk Hogan, which Tommy and I were watching live, and we popped.
With his H phone, brother.
H phone, brother.
He has an H phone, which I was like, what's the point of this? Is this some infomercial? I mean, I know Hogan, remember, he used to, he says, allegedly, the Foreman Grill was originally presented to him first, but he passed on it, and instead it was going for the pasta maker or something.
Pasta mania, brother.
So he passed, and I guess was it Jason Hervey?
George Foreman.
Yeah,
the George Foreman grill. Yeah.
So then George Foreman went ahead and took the grill, and we all know what happened there.
Yeah, Jason Hervey was like Bischoff's
business partner,
right?
Yeah. So anyway,
right hand man.
I thought, okay, what's he doing here? I don't know if this is supposed to be like a play on the old iPhone commercials from way back in the day, but I don't know. It just seems so out of place and just random. Like, I don't know. Could you just have Hulk Hogan says, "Welcome everyone to Monday Night Raw, brother"? I don't know. I just using the phone. It's kind of goofy. Whatever.
Pretty cheesy.
So next up, the opening segment was Miz TV. So Miz and Morrison were out there. The New Day come out. New Day said, "Oh, they got their own show now." Was it New Day Talks? So a little funny back and forth. Morrison was really good, but Teddy Long comes out, which I always
like this.
I pop for Teddy Long. I like Teddy Long. He seems like a really nice guy. He starts cutting his promo, and he's like, "You guys are gonna go 1-on-1 or with the Undertaker." And
well, since the Undertaker's not here, we're gonna have a tag team match.
So I laugh because one, I mean, I guess theoretically, since Undertaker is retired, could he be make future appearances on Legends Night down the road? But I get it why they didn't have him on TV. It's just so fresh. Survivor Series is still fresh in our heads. Yeah. So you got to keep him off TV for a lot longer. But anyway, I was kind of hoping maybe the Undertaker would pop out for a surprise on Legends Night, and he's ultimately one of the greats. But it led to the match between the New Day and Miz and Morrison, which great opening match here. I mean, come on, these are all awesome dudes. I mean, they're all total pros. Ultimately, New Day gets the win. So at the end of the day, Miz is still happy. He still has the Money in the Bank briefcase. So after that, we see a backstage segment with Randy Orton, and we see the video package kind of recapping what happened at the end of last week's episode of Raw. Was did he or did he not set Alexa Bliss on fire? And he just ultimately admit he did not. He showed compassion or restraint and did not set her on fire. And he just went on to say, like, the Fiend, it just shows that the Fiend has that power on people, whoever comes into contact with, just changes you and makes you more evil. And I think that's trying to justify his behavior as of late, which is rightfully so. That's consistent with the storyline that we've seen with The Fiend over the last, year and a half, all the various opponents he's had, except for Goldberg. Goldberg's apparently invincible. So I guess Randy Orton wants to kind of take it out tonight, though, on the legends that were there. He wants to go back to being the legend killer. There's a bunch of legends there, so this is his night. Even a tweet about it earlier in the day. He's like, oh, legends tonight, huh? So, and then we see Angel Garza hitting on Mickie James, which...
I love this. I love this.
I wish she would have... I would have popped if she would have said... I'm married. Make some sort of reference to Nick Aldis. I was hoping for something.
Well, I mean, having Sergeant Slaughter call him a maggot, and then because usually he's just standing in the background, and it's a memorable face, and but him taking the rose and then smelling it, I for some reason there was something about him smelling the rose got me because it looked like he enjoyed it.
And then you had Tatanka just standing there, just kind of out of place,
looking like he's ready for action.
He was dressed up in full
old, up
gear.
and tan, and looking like Tatanka looks.
It was like vintage 1993 Tatanka.
Yes. So that was cool. I mean, hey, remember, keep my Angel Guards as at the time the current 24/7 champion, which will come into a factor later. And then next up, we see AJ Styles taking on Elias, and apparently, Omos is now pronounced Amos. So he's already had he was just the big guy or wherever his.
This is one of those things that is why NXT is important.
Yes, you fine tune the character, set it in place, and then when it's moving up to
he is an intimidating figure.
Yes.
Him kicking that chair was just God damn.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. So it's pronounced Amos now for everyone asking or curious. It's not almost anymore. So it's Amos. Amos. John Stamos. But so AJ Styles, Elias, good match here. Anything particular that stood out for you in this match?
Standard good match.
Yeah, obviously. So
it was perfect for TV.
Yeah, AJ Styles picks up the victory, Styles clash. And then Riker comes in with Elias's guitar, tries to swing, and then Amos just kicks the guitar and explodes everywhere. So it's just all these little feats of strength. It just shows how badass Amos is. I wonder eventually, will he actually get a match soon? Or, I wonder what's going to be next for him and his character.
Yeah. I mean, eventually he has to get physical. So
yeah. But nonetheless, everything so far has been great. So next up, we saw Lacey Evans and Peyton Royce taking on Charlotte Flair and Asuka in a non-title women's tag team match here.
Loved this so much.
Ric Flair comes out. It's Legends Night. He's there on site, so he's joining his daughter for ringside, kind of loosely a manager for the night. Great back and forth here. It does its thing, but the main thing was Lacey Evans kept seducing Ric Flair from afar. Every time she gets close to him, was blowing kisses, and Nature Boy still got it. He was he sees that attraction here. Woo! He's like, woo. So, but yeah, eventually, she keeps trying to persuade him, and Charlotte keeps looking back, and then finally Rick thought he was helping, being the dirtiest player in the game, trying to help Charlotte, and he looks and thought he was going to trip Lacey Evans, but instead he trips Charlotte, and Charlotte caused them to lose the match. And so Charlotte got super pissed, started yelling at her dad, and went full heel mode, personality wise, and told him move, get out of here, get out. So I don't know, Richard, at this point, this is what, the second time that Charlotte has publicly third
time, yeah.
I mean, at this point, if I'm Ric Flair, it's all right, I'm never coming out with you ringside ever again in your career. It never ends well. I'm bad luck. I don't know. But how'd you think this whole segment played out?
I loved it. I thought it was really, really well done. Just everything about it screamed Ric Flair. So, and the match was good. And the fact that Lacey, the psychology in Lacey trying to use Rick against Charlotte worked out in the end for them because they picked up the win.
Yeah. So it's great seeing Ric Flair out there do his thing. But yeah, little slip ups.
And I love the end where Rick turned his back, but he grabbed Charlotte's leg instead of Lacey's.
Yeah.
So
And remember, Lacey was getting in his face, was like, trying to kiss him, getting close, and he's
closer and closer,
grabbing his tie, like, ooh, baby. So it's for Ric Flair, hey, he still got it. He's still Space Mountain, oldest ride, longest line. So next up, we saw a backstage segment with Drew McIntyre, Sheamus, and the Immortal Hulk Hogan. Tommy, how'd you think this segment was as far as Drew, Hogan, Sheamus going at it together, cutting a little promo?
It was just a little bit of just kind of a rub on the shoulder. Just go out there and do your thing, just motivate Drew McIntyre.
I don't think, if I remember correctly, I don't think Hogan called Sheamus by his name. Like, I wonder if he did forget his name.
Yeah.
Like, hey, brother. I mean, for Hogan, that's great. He has brother. Like, he doesn't know your name. He just calls you brother. Like, he called Tommy, I like your shirt, brother.
Yeah.
Yep, pretty much.
So, it was a little cheesy, but keep in mind, Hogan's from the '80s. That's where
it's Hulk Hogan, though. Yeah, exactly.
Hogan.
It's like go back and watch something from the '80s and tell me it's not cheesy.
Yeah. So, for Drew McIntyre, he must have been. You could tell he was like popping inside because they were doing the "What you gonna do, brother?" when Hulk Hogan and Drew McIntyre run wild on you. So, brother, it was all good fun. For Drew, that's always probably gonna be a special moment for him to kind of promo. And listen, I know Hogan, has his personal issues, and a lot of people have mixed feelings about him now in recent years. Based on what happened with him and stuff. So, but anyway,
there's people that just flat out don't like him though. Yeah. Anyway, because they feel like he held people back. But it's like when you're the biggest star in the business and you help make this business what it is, like you're entitled to some whatever you want, really.
Leeway.
Well, it's almost something like if you look at Roman Reigns' character. I know it's kayfabe, but a lot of things he does bring up, you could easily understand why he acts the way he does. The pressure providing for his family. Yeah. You're the face of the company. It's a lot of pressure. And so therefore, you're going to be very political and try to get things done your way. So, but for Hogan, in the real life situation, in the locker room, that's what he did. So next up, we saw a non-title match for the U.S. title. Bobby Lashley taking on Riddle here. Riddle got, sneaky little victory, rolled him up and got a win. So, I don't know. Like, I guess it's good for Riddle, keep the momentum going of him winning. Good match here, but I don't know if I like seeing members of the Hurt Business losing. I don't know.
I think when you've got Bobby Lashley, like even if Lashley beats Riddle in a title match, I think this helps build Matt Riddle to make him look like he's someone that could take on Bobby Lashley because he beat him in a non-title match.
Yes. Yeah. So I wonder if this could lead to SummerSlam.
It's one of those deals too where it's like when you look at the roster and you look at Bobby Lashley, like there's 4 people on Raw that could believably have a competitive match based on size. Mm-hmm. So I think this was done very well.
Yeah, and I mean I think it's probably going to lead to a rematch at Royal Rumble or something.
Yeah, but when you look at it, like wins and losses don't matter that much unless like you're it's not like when Bray Wyatt was on that losing streak every single week. But that was like a year and a half. Mm-hmm. So like it took how long for the audience to realize when was the last time you won a match?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. Like if you're having competitive matches, it really doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Next up, we saw a backstage segment with Randy Orton and Mark Henry. Mark Henry was on that scooter, so I don't know if he recently had surgery or something. I don't know the details. I mean, Richard, I know you listen to Busted Open Radio. Is there anything like going on while he's using a scooter now? But
I don't remember. I was kind of when I was watching that, just kind of like he mentioned something.
Okay,
I don't think it matters.
So Randy Orton's going around, confronting the legends that are backstage in the hallway, and just pretty much berates him and, talks down to him and, says he's not what he used to be and can't go out there and, compete anymore. I don't know. Like, I guess it's cool. I mean, as far as Randy Orton going around as the Legend Killer talking crap, but he wasn't actually beating up anyone or doing anything like that. Because we just saw that like 6 months ago where he was actually attacking the Legends, the Hall of Famers. And this night he was just talking S to them, but that was it.
Yeah, just fine. Like he's just, it's just cementing more and more that he's a heel. You know, like he's taking advantage of the older talent when they're there, and they're just there to visit and have a good time, and he's walking around being a jerk.
Yeah.
And we everyone's encountered people like that have to be the most macho person around, and it's just like, oh my God.
Yeah. And then so he told him to scoot off. So he really did just rolled out of the picture. Next up was supposed to be Mandy Rose taking on Shayna Baszler, but got attacked. So it was Dana Brooke, her tag team partner, taking on Shayna Baszler. I mean, good match here. Dana Brooke was fine. Yeah, Dana Brooke has been known kind of for surprisingly like what's the word?
Upping her game.
Yeah, upping her game, but also strategy wise, how to get out of like was that one of the little arm moves that Shayna does. So good decent match here. But yeah, surprisingly Dana Brooke got the victory. So good for her. So I guess, this is going to be kind of Shayna Baszler, maybe Nia Jax's rivalry for a while. Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke for the time being.
Question. Yeah. How far into Raw do you think we are in our notes right now?
We are...
About halfway through Raw?
About halfway or about 2/3.
What so far have you mentioned that has been egregious?
Like just really bad?
Yeah. Anything?
The ending.
Hold on.
We're not there yet. Yeah,
we'll get to that.
This far in the show.
I mean, Ms. TV.
Yeah.
I think Ms. TV is lately just been a speed
little
bump.
long.
It slows the momentum. Let's see.
Anything or nothing?
Nothing really.
The Miz is starting to get under my nerves a little bit, just from a performance standpoint. The Miz TV stuff.
Yeah, that was the only.
Correct.
So that's just a little standard, though, right?
Yeah.
Like we've come to expect it to a degree.
And just I wish Randy Orton would actually attack people. I mean, even was it with Big Show later in the night? He put his arm.
But did that take you out of the show? This is really bad. I don't want to see Randy Orton do this anymore because it's terrible television. That's my point.
Well, no, I mean, I just took it for what it is. Okay, this is trying to add heat to his heel persona. So
really, this far into the show, nothing to this is hard to watch.
I mean, Dana Brooke is not, I wish Shayna Baszler was more of a badass heel persona right now.
That's not what I'm asking, though. Has there been anything this far into the show that made you want to turn away?
I mean, not turn away. I mean, I have to watch the whole thing for this podcast. So it's I can't turn it off per se.
Okay. So were you offended by the show thus far? Like most people are every week.
No, I mean, I have a laid back personality, and I take it more for what it is, entertainment value. There's a lot of critics on Twitter and per se that get super critical on this stuff. Yeah.
That's my point.
I know. I can enjoy it.
Me too.
Yeah. But a lot of people just micromanage this and make it a bigger deal than it is my point.
Well, they're trying to put over their own tweets.
Like to me, this is fun. Yeah, exactly. They're trying to get a retweet and a like or whatever by like-minded people. But so far to me, everything that you said has just made it a fun show. There was 2 losses that you didn't quite see coming. Riddle and Dana Brooke beating the people that you would assume would be higher on the food chain than them. So you're getting something different. Yeah. And people are still complaining.
I know. Well, honestly,
there are times when Raw is bad. I think it was last week that I was even this was very hard to watch. I just watched the matches and skipped all the promos.
Yeah.
But so far on this show, nothing's been egregious to me. Everything's been fun. There was things that came out of nowhere. We were supposed to get Mandy Rose against Shayna Baszler, and then we got Dana. And it was a fun little TV match. It's not a pay-per-view match, so I don't see why you get upset by it. Yeah. But I was just seeing people online butchering, not everybody, just people butchering every little detail. And it was just then why are you watching?
It's really tough. Honestly, going on Twitter between 5 and 8 p.m. our time here in the West Coast, the tweets for Monday Night Raw, it's... I check it just to kind of see what people think about certain segments and stuff.
Yeah, same.
It's very toxic. I know we talked about it.
They hate watch, and it's then don't watch it.
Yeah, just go on the network and watch something from the past.
Yeah, Busted Open for me. That's my favorite. That's my go-to for wrestling podcast because it's daily.
Yeah.
so I can get a daily dose of it. But there are times when Dave LaGreca will go on and on and on, and like I can tell where he's going, so I stop listening. And because it's not important to anything other than like I'm just going to sit here and listen to this guy yell, and that's not important.
Is he yelling about Raw or creative? WWE creative? Okay.
Yeah, but it's just kind of like I like even when something's good, then he'll find something that happened. Well, it was good this week, but last week was still pretty bad, and I don't know why. And it's just like I don't care.
Brian Last is like that too.
Oh yeah, he's terrible.
Yeah,
Cornette's co-host.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, and I mean that's one thing I do appreciate about you. You still find the good in all of this, the entertainment of all this, and you still find joy.
You don't do that with The Walking Dead or The Sopranos or whatever your favorite non-wrestling TV show is. People don't do that.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, no, it's tough. I mean, like, and for me, I realize sometimes I hold myself back from being on Twitter so much. Like, part of me is like, okay, I know to build up your Twitter following, you should probably do more, rhetorically speaking, you should do more live tweeting, give your thoughts in real time, use the proper hashtags for each segment or for that particular event. And that way you can be part of the conversation. People can find your Twitter page and hopefully either like it, retweet it, whatever, respond to it. But then again, I realize I'm jumping on a platform where there's a lot of toxic people going, and it takes me away from watching the actual show.
Right.
Yeah. Like live tweeting during, Raw, NXT, SmackDown, even a pay-per-view is tough because I'm trying to like type up my sentence real quick, but I'm missing like 30 seconds of the match here.
Yeah.
It could be a major point in the match where
that's like me watching the fights on boxing.
Yeah, like momentum change. So I get what you're saying. It sucks because I want to, increase our social media following or whatever, be part of the conversation online, but then it takes away from my joy from watching the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. But typically if you're watching a non-wrestling show, you don't know what you're getting, just like you don't know what you're getting in wrestling. So it's like there's a certain point in live TV or TV where if I'm not feeling something, I'll just watch something else or I'll come back to it later on.
Yeah.
Right. And we have that privilege as wrestling fans. There are so many ways to watch these shows, whether it's watching just the clips on YouTube to keep up with the show or Hulu or the WWE network or live on TV or replays. So it's like you can pick and choose what you want to watch from these shows. So why do you sit there and hate watch it? Like, to me, I didn't have to fast forward anything from the show. I had fun with this entire show personally.
It's like, was it Howard Stern said years ago in Private Parts, like they realize the people who hate the show listen more than the people who enjoy the show. Right. They're looking for something to hate.
I also think that there's a certain amount of it where it's people that are young and they don't know who half of these people are. So it's frustrating for them to not know who they are, but it's like, well, do your homework. Yeah. Like, it's all available.
Do your
like
Google
these
research.
These are the greats.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, I get what you're saying, and I appreciate you saying that because I think there are a lot of people out there who forget that and get really. I think the cool thing is to be critical. And
it is, but these are also people that, like. I came to the conclusion that this week that these fans that think that this is a Wednesday night war don't understand the Monday night wars, because the Monday night wars weren't between wrestling fans. It was between the companies, and these two companies, AEW and NXT, they take it the other way. It's like, that's not what it was in the 90s. Like you watched both. Like you liked everything that you watched. Like that's why it was so good.
I mean, I remember we lucked out back in the day as far as, with our old cable provider at the time, we were able to get TNT. TNT for us was East Coast time. So we were able to watch Nitro first and then watch Raw after. So luckily we didn't have to worry about, I mean, that's here in the Bay Area. I don't know how it was in other parts of the country, but here in the Bay Area, we were able to watch both live in real time. And obviously we didn't have DVRs.
Well, sometimes Raw was taped back then.
But I'm saying,
and Nitro had the replay right after.
Yeah, so we lucked out as far as we were able to watch both shows in real time with no interruption as far as channel surfing, flipping back and forth.
Yeah.
And so, we were able to enjoy. I loved WCW back in the day. There was a lot of great moments there. Yeah. And Raw and WWE as well.
And I used to like watching Raw back then in the mid-'90s, between like 96, 97, when, Nitro was killing it in the ratings. I still like watching, seeing like segments involving, especially the Pillman's Got a Gun incident.
Yeah, Heart Foundation, all that stuff. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you could be a fan of both. And I think today's wrestling culture, I think there's a lot of people who are like, you got to pick one side or the other, and the other side sucks. Whatever side you like, you love.
That's never what it was, though.
Yeah.
Like I think they're because what the ages are. What's their key demographic, right? What it's 18 to
1849 is the
18 to
main one to
49,
discuss. Yeah.
I would venture that most of them are 30 to 18. So if they do remember the Monday Night Wars, they don't remember it the way we do.
Yeah.
Because like that's part of the thing with the Legends Night is that we're the perfect age because we remember everyone that was on that show.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like from Hogan to Tatanka, we were the right ages for that.
Yeah.
You know? So
yeah. So no, I get what you're saying. And like this show was definitely built for us, people between the ages of 30 and 50 this past week.
And older.
And anyone younger probably would not care about over half those people on the stage during the main event. But I get what you're saying, though. It is kind of toxic, I think, some of the fan base now, as far as it's amazing how many people like to hate on Raw and SmackDown versus NXT and AEW.
And AEW, yeah.
Yeah, and it sucks because, like, well, no, listen, if there wasn't for Raw, there would be no SmackDown. If it wasn't for Raw and SmackDown, there wouldn't be NXT.
There wouldn't be
AEW.
anything else.
Yeah, exactly.
Right now.
So, I mean, I think in some ways, let's see people respect those shows.
Here's something to think about. If WCW won the Monday Night Wars, we wouldn't have wrestling at all right now.
Yeah, because Warner probably would have given up completely on it.
Yeah, they would have sold off all the tape libraries for everything or thrown them out because I believe that's what they did with Continental Wrestling, and Jim Cornette picked it up out of a dumpster, literally.
Wow.
They just threw away a tape library.
Man, that's insane. So,
yeah.
No, I know we're going off on a tangent here, but I think just in general, yeah, I'm with you. Like, for me, for the most part, I know for this podcast, for the sake of this podcast, we try to be critical when we need to, but I think for us, we all definitely focus on the positive and try to be more fun and upbeat. There's a lot of other podcasts out there. I'm not going to say who or what specific personalities, but there's a lot of them who are extremely negative, and you follow them on Twitter, and they're
like Philip. He's just such a negative, toxic person. Philip at the Bullet Cast, guys. Yeah. So negative.
Sarcasm. # sarcasm. But I hear what you're saying. No, but there's a lot of people out there who are extremely negative, and then their shows, they're just spewing hate. And I'm like, why you do this? Why do you wrestling podcast then?
Yeah, why watch wrestling then? Because you clearly don't like it.
Honestly,
and I'm not saying you have to like WWE to like wrestling. There's so much wrestling out there.
Yeah.
Like if you're devoted to one company, if you're devoted to MLW or NWA, you're a wrestling fan.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you have to go and bash everything else. Because if you are bashing something that you don't watch, then your opinion's invalid.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. I'm really glad you're bringing this all up because I think it's here's the thing, which not to go on another subject, but it's amazing how many wrestling podcasts are out there right now and existing, and I think part of it is with the pandemic, everyone's at home, so there's a lot of people who are like, you know what, I could do a podcast from home, and they're all buying the equipment, and they're all launching podcasts within the last 9 months, and it's a lot of them hating on, and then they use that platform to hate on these shows. And it's like, well, why are you watching then? Or why are you doing this podcast if you're going to hate? What's the point? So I wonder, once the pandemic clears up and people kind of get back to more of a normal routine and leave the house on a more regular basis, I wonder how many of these podcasts are going to continue after the pandemic.
Yeah. They're not.
Yeah.
I mean, for on a personal level, for me, like on my page, I've got I'm 300 away from 7,000 followers.
Uh-huh.
The only comments I get that are negative are people that don't follow my page.
Yeah. Oh, really?
What does that say?
They're looking for something to hate on.
They're looking for something to hate on. Like they went out of the way to go to a page that they don't even follow to spew negativity.
Yeah. Well,
and those are the opinions that Twitter and the internet wrestling community report on, the dirt sheets. And it's just like, those are not important people. Those are not people that invest their money and their time into wrestling.
That, I mean, it kind of says a lot about our country as a whole right now.
Exactly. It does. I mean, it's hard to not be political about some of this stuff, because it's just like everything's a competition right now.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying. No, and I feel like this is going to be an ongoing topic for a long time. And that's something, I want to keep track of once this pandemic is over. Like, how many people are going to keep watching or doing a podcast or continue to be as negative. So I know it's a lot to think about. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I think we all can agree, enjoy WWE for what it is. It's still good stuff. And I know we sound like total homers for them, but WWE, I'll be honest, have been really good. Have been really good to me, so that's why I'm always going to be supportive of them.
Yeah, and there's always that fast forward button. Like, if you're not with something, like, I love WWE. I've always loved WWE, but there's stuff that I don't want to see Miz TV, so I'll just fast forward through it. I like the Miz in the ring, and I love John Morrison, but like, I don't want to see a Miz TV when I can feel it in the back of my head and I'm getting a little tense. I just fast forward it. Like, there's no point in having something ruin the rest of the show. And it's a 3-hour show. So if you're taking out 15 minutes, and then you only got 2 hours and 15 minutes left.
Exactly. So that really, I mean, I think this could definitely be an ongoing topic, and I know we should jump back into breaking down the rest of the show real quick. But no, I'm glad we had this discussion, and I think there's a lot more this is a big can of worms we can jump into at another point. So just looking real quick, let's see, going back to actual Raw itself. So Ric Flair in the hallway talking to IRS and Molly Holly. Randy Orton comes up, starts harassing him, and kind of going back to what happened last summer with them, and cool addressing all that stuff. Randy, keep in mind, the last time we saw Ric Flair and Randy Orton, Ric Flair was in the front of the ambulance after Drew McIntyre beat him. So, just a continuation of that. And, Flair was like, you learned everything from me, but I didn't teach you everything I know. So, next up, we saw Randy Orton take on Jeff Hardy here. Richard, man, listen, I think it's safe to say these two have great chemistry together.
We had 2 main event matches on Raw.
Yeah.
So, this was really, really good. But, like, at first I wasn't excited. And then when it got into it, it was just kind of like, I don't think these guys have ever had bad matches together.
No, I mean, I still think about the screwdriver in the ear.
Yeah, and then he pulled it again. It was just like, no.
But we see Randy Orton pick up the victory over Jeff Hardy. Cool. As far as keeping Randy more momentum winning going, so that's good. Yeah. Backstage, you saw Lucha House Party walk by Melina, and they just go doing the Lucha. Melina looked great seeing her on TV again. So. Awesome stuff there. I mean, it's so trippy because, like, you think about it, really, a year ago, she was on NWA Power.
Yeah.
And here she is back on Raw. I mean, there's been rumors, we talked about it before, that she was going to come back. So
21 days away from finding out if she's coming back or not.
You got the Royal Rumble countdown on.
Yeah,
nice. Yeah. And then we saw Lucha House Party take on the Hurt Business non-title match for the Raw tag titles here. I mean, come on. I'm just happy to see Lucha House Party get some screen time. It was a busy week for them in general between Raw and NXT, but great match here, am I right?
Yeah, very, very surprisingly good. And a surprising pick, another surprising win.
I know. I mean, was it one of them won last week against The Miz, and then they won this week?
Was it?
We saw this all week on WWE with surprise people winning and furthering in matches.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
As we'll get into.
Yeah, I know exactly. Gauntlet match winners, man.
Yeah.
So,
the gauntlet itself.
Yeah. Oh, dude. So I can't wait to get into that. So let's get to there. Lucha House Party get the victory. Hurt Business. I don't know, man. I don't want to see them break up or anything.
I don't think they'll break up. I wouldn't mind seeing Lucha House Party win the belts, even if it's for a week or two, just for the sake of. They always work really, really hard, and I don't remember when that Elimination Chamber match was that they were in.
Yeah,
but I wanted to see them with the belts for, even if it's just that night. Like
the Grand Metalik fell from the top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They like changed my opinion on them after that match, and like we don't get to see them every week. So I'm happy to see them being used right now, and they're being used really well.
I just worry about the Hurt Business as far as I don't want them. I just don't want them to fall apart. Like,
no, it's too early. It's too
early. Yeah, WWE Creative, please don't break up the Hurt Business. Let them stay strong. So
I think we're good.
Unless
they're heels too, so they're supposed to lose. They're not supposed to win every week.
True, unless I don't know if I should say it for the internet unless I forget. But hypothetically, what happens if the Hurt Business drops a member, pick up a new member?
I don't think they're going to do that.
Or just add a member, Keith Lee.
Yeah, I think, there you go. That's what we all want. Please put Keith Lee in the Hurt Business.
So,
black and gold.
Yeah, dude, that'd be great for all of them. I would love that. The next up, we saw Angel Garza backstage, comes walking up on Tori Wilson and Nikki Cross. Good to see Nikki Cross again. I haven't seen Nikki Cross in a minute, after the Alexa Bliss stuff. So they're just talking.
I love this.
Angel Garza's trying to seduce Tori Wilson, and then she's like, "Oh yeah, my friends Cardi B, Ariana Grande, and was it one of the Jenners? Not Caitlyn Jenner.
Oh, yeah, Caitlyn Jenner down the hall.
Kylie Jenner.
Kylie Jenner.
Was it Caitlyn?
They're all the same. They're all the same.
Kylie and Kendall.
And so they said, they're in the room right there. And so Angel Garza's like, all right. But before I get into what happened, do you see, I guess, I didn't look closely, but Cardi B was tweeting. It's like, why is everyone tweeting at me about WWE? So that was kind of funny. Like, you make up.
He used to watch it when she was a kid.
That's what she said.
And then she got into it with Lacey Evans. Did you see that?
Yes. Yeah.
That was great.
Lacey called her a nasty.
And she had no idea. She's being in kayfabe in character. It's like, So hopefully Lacey Evans got some good publicity or a bump in number followers. So Angel Garza goes into the room. Boogeyman is there, jumps at him, scares him. Then R-Truth comes rolling in, rolls him up, and pins him and regains the 24/7 title. So cool for Angel Garza. I mean, like, I'm happy Angel Garza's back. Got the haircut. He's getting some screen time again, seducing the camera / ladies in the hallway. But I really want to see him start kind of dominate that mid-card scene and really start building him up. I mean, I know a lot of people compare him to be the next Eddie Guerrero, but I really want to see him start just building up some quality victories and get into some good rivalries in the mid-card scene and let that ride out for a good portion of 2021. I'm a big fan of him, so I really want to see him separate from that 24/7 division. So hopefully this was just, like a one-time thing, just in order to talk to Tori Wilson and try to flirt with her. So he's a lucky man. Just to be in her presence and trying to talk to her. He shoot his shot. I respect him for that. And Ron Simmons popped out and said, "Damn." But by the way, I was telling was I telling Tommy or maybe Philip the other day, I was hoping Ron Simmons and Teddy Long would do something together. Just like, I don't know, and then like a Doom reference.
I was just going to say they need to find Butch Reed.
Right?
Yeah. Waiting for that. Because it would be funny if Butch Reed was at one end and Bradshaw came at the other. Yeah. And then Ron looks at both of them and just goes, damn.
Like, I love you both.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, Teddy Long there, I would love to see him and Ron Simmons do something. Just I feel like Doom doesn't get talked enough about.
No, not at all.
Right?
They should.
Yeah, totally. All right, main event time. Drew McIntyre defending the WWE Championship against Keith Lee here. Man, they gave this match I think like the entrances started like with 30 minutes to go in the show.
Yeah.
Dude, Richard, what a barn burner.
And Spanish Fly.
Oh my God.
That was sweet.
And then, I was worried at first because it looked like Keith Lee landed on his face and his head.
Yeah.
And then with the replay, it was like, oh, thank God. Like, ooh.
That was fantastic.
Pay-per-view, quality, a match there.
And it was a week or two ago that they were saying that Keith Lee's being punished.
Yeah. Well, there was
let's try to remember these Meltzer points when they come up like that. Yeah, because from what it sounded like, he was getting buried and potentially going back to NXT, and here we are, the main event of Raw in front of all the legends. Yeah, and they had a barn burner for the world title.
It was great. I mean, just two big hotses going at it.
Oh yeah, and Keith Lee's slams were just clean. His body slams, I mean, and There was one thing I noticed. It was a little bit of a slip up when he went up for a leapfrog. It looked. I mean, Keith Lee hit his. McIntyre hit his head on his right leg.
So Drew came off the ropes. He's running across the ring. Keith Lee leapfrogs, jumps up, but he didn't jump high enough. So Drew kind of skid through by his thigh.
Yeah, and that was a little bit of a slip up.
I mean, it's a little nitpick, but I mean, it's
that's the kind of thing you work out on house shows.
Exactly.
Yeah. And
just
plus
the timing and stuff.
The spot where he power bombed him through the table.
Oh my
on
God.
the edge right there. That was just. Oh, that was
when Drew powerbombed Keith Lee on the outside Raw commentary table, but he hit like right at the edge. I mean, I know you're in the moment, but it's like Drew, whoever, like scoot over like a foot and like be more in the middle of the table.
Yeah,
I was just like, I just think of like Shawn Michaels or Rick Rude or whoever hitting the edge of the table. I'm like, even Rhea Ripley this week on NXT hit the table. But dude, God, just the back and forth. Like, I mean, come on, we say we praise Drew McIntyre enough. We love him.
Yeah,
but no, awesome match here. Tommy and I, we were rewatching it before we hit record tonight. Just that ending sequence there, Richard, as far as Drew went for the Claymore. Keith Lee caught it. Drew fell on his back. And then
he went to...
and then Keith lifted him up for like a power bomb, but then Drew got
under.
Drew jumped over Keith's head, but
he looked like he got teabagged.
Did you want to look at it close? As Drew's jumping over Keith Lee's head, his nuts go across Keith Lee's face.
He got teabagged.
Like and he jumped, and then he turned around and hit the Claymore on Keith Lee, and picked up the victory. So great match here, just the back and forth, the hard hitting. Oh, so good. Like,
good match.
As you said, for Keith Lee, great performance even in defeat. They kind of hit fists with one another in sign of respect. Drew grabs the microphones, ready to start talking. All of a sudden, Goldberg's theme music starts hitting. Goldberg, all the legends turn around, look, and he comes charging down to the ring, gets in the ring, and I was heated Monday night with this promo, and then I rewatched it for a record again. I was heated again. I got reminded why. So I'm just paraphrasing here. Goldberg called out Drew McIntyre, says he disrespects the legends. He thinks he's better than all of them. And first off, in my head, Drew never said anything bad about the legends. He's a baby face. And on top of that, if anything, Drew is better than all of them. Even like who on that stage, other than Hogan in his prime, maybe Booker T, Ric Flair, everyone else were like, some main eventers, some mid-carders. Drew, if you want to compare careers, he's better than them. So, but even still, he's humble. He's the babyface champion. He doesn't talk shit. So I mean,
we briefly. We started to talk about this before we started recording, and we were both like, we should start this. But from what it seems, or from what I've read, it looks like that they were scrapped for time.
Yeah.
And Goldberg hit a promo on Drew that was meant for a longer segment.
The segment was cut short. Yeah.
Yeah. Drew was supposed to cut a promo on the Legends, maybe a slight heel promo, and it got cut short. So Goldberg just went out and did the same thing because it's, not everyone can just go out there and make up a promo. So he just unfortunately did what he remembered.
Yeah. So, I mean, he cuts out there and he just challenges Drew for a match at Royal Rumble and then ultimately pushes him. I was like, and that's it.
And let's be realistic here. If you're backstage and you're seeing your friends that you have, like we haven't seen each other in months.
Yeah.
And you're in the moment, and then someone says, "Hey, Bill, it's time to go." As far as Bill knows, he hit that promo. Like he might have just been pulled out from somewhere and didn't know that he didn't cut the other part of it. You know what I mean? Like he could have been in conversation with Vince or Triple H
in the gorilla position.
Yeah, and they just said go.
So he didn't know that Drew did not say.
Possibly, I'm just saying that it could be a possible
to motivate or give a reason why. What Goldberg said, it would have made sense if Drew did cut a promo that was kind of heelish, calling out the legends, and so therefore, if he would have done that, it would have made sense what Goldberg said. But since he didn't, Yeah, it
and
didn't make
Goldberg's
sense.
not known for his promo. So had he had, maybe this is all hypothetical to our clickbaiters, but I tend to think that if that happened, then Bill would have just come out and said, "You're next," and then shoved him. Like,
yeah. So
it didn't fit, unfortunately. So it is what it is.
What I was frustrated is what Goldberg said did not make any sense directed towards Drew McIntyre.
Because he was respectful all night.
Yeah. He had a segment with Hogan and he was getting into it, like, him buddying up to Hulk Hogan.
It almost felt like a promo for Randy.
Exact. That's what I was just going to say. What he said would have been perfect if it was directed towards Randy Orton, but it didn't make sense. So that's why I was like pissed. And of course, going back to like, why is Goldberg even coming out here? I mean, I know there were rumors that Goldberg and Roman Reigns were going to be potentially in a match at Royal Rumble to make up for the one that they didn't have WrestleMania last year. All that stuff. I just don't know why WWE keeps using Goldberg. Like when he first came back in 2017 for that, what I thought was going to be the last hoorah. Great. Comes back, beats Brock Lesnar one more time, wins the Universal Champion. Great one last hoorah for his kid to show him as a superhero in the ring. All that stuff. Great. But then ever since then, it's been much more diminished return. This bad matches over in Saudi Arabia, and just he's not willing to put other guys over. I mean, he beat the Fiend. He didn't want to go over, let the Fiend go over. So I think a lot of people are starting to get soured on his presence because we know the backstage politics.
They were soured on him though the first time he came back.
No,
let's be honest. We
yeah.
were all excited because at the time Brock was undefeatable.
Yes.
And Goldberg peeled that away for us.
Yeah, so. Exactly. No, and like I said, that initial first run was great. Yeah. But ever since in the last couple of years, it's like he's bad match with the Undertaker, didn't put the Fiend over, and so it's like, and I get it. I think he has like this year and next year left on his contract, and he's required to do 2 matches a year. And since there's no Saudi Arabia shows for right now, I guess the next thing is put him on a big 4 pay-per-view like the Royal Rumble. So I'm mad because I don't want Drew have to act heel in order to work with Goldberg.
It also doesn't have to be a long match, keep in mind.
Well,
like 10 minutes, 10, 12 at the max.
That. I mean, I would be surprised if it goes that long. But anyway, I don't want Drew, his second title reign, to suffer because he's being forced into a matchup with Goldberg here.
It's not going to hurt him either way.
I hope he wins. He needs to win.
He doesn't. There's 3 outcomes, okay? There is Goldberg beating Drew, and then Drew coming back and beating him at WrestleMania, and that looks great on his resume, right?
Big wins at WrestleMania. Yeah,
Drew gives Goldberg a good match, which is possible, or Drew beats Goldberg the same way Goldberg's beaten everyone, and he just claymores him at the beginning of the match, and it's over.
Or how about this? Goldberg wins, beats Drew at Royal Rumble. Drew enters the Royal Rumble match, wins, and then challenges Roman Reigns at WrestleMania.
There you go.
But then again, we get Goldberg for the next couple months as WWE champion on Raw. I'm like, that's the only downside of that scenario.
But when this contract's done, how much are you going to see him ever again?
Hope not.
That's it. Like it's
that's why I respect Stone Cold that much more. He knows his limitations. He doesn't try to get back.
You're a phony commentator right now. You want to see Austin come back.
Like, dude, he could. I mean, they say like he.
You
could,
just changed your tune. Like
Stone Cold Steve Austin is the marvelous Marvin Hagler of professional wrestling.
I don't understand that reference.
Okay. Marvelous Marvin Hagler was one of the greatest middleweight champions there ever was in boxing. And when he lost to Sugar Ray Leonard, which was controversial, when he lost that fight to Ray Leonard, lost his middleweight championship, he retired and he stayed retired.
So remember that.
That.
What's his name?
Marvelous Marvin Hagler. The GOAT.
One of the greats. So anyway, that's for me why I'm frustrated about Goldberg being in this picture. It's just I feel like Roman probably said, "Nah, I'm not working with Goldberg." Gave him over to Drew, so it's Drew's problem now. So I don't know.
The worst is you get Goldberg for 2 months.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Like that's not that bad.
yeah. So, but anyway, the show wrapped up, and yes, I guess we'll see Goldberg probably a couple more times for the build up for Royal Rumble. So we'll see how this goes, and yeah, we'll talk about it on here on In The Kliq.